Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is Blackforexgroup coming to you with another market analysis video. Today, we're going to be looking at the British pound, which is the currency for the United Kingdom, and we're going to be looking at the British pound USD. But before we get started to break down this currency pair, we have to state that this video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. But we all know why you guys are here. You guys are here to find good, credible Forex content that can help improve your ability as a trader and that can help put a little bit of extra money in your pocket, especially in these troubling times. Okay. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in and see what we can do about that. Now, before we talk about what's happening on the chart, let us talk about the fundamentals of the British pound and the USD. We're going to start with the British pound. Now, the British pound remains one of our weaker currencies heading into this trading week, and there's several different factors that's affecting the British pound. First, we'll discuss what's happening with its own economy. Then we're going to be talking about how the European conflict is affecting it as well. Okay, so with its own economy, there's a heavy cloud of inflation hanging over the United Kingdom, in which they increased its interest rate from 50% to 75%. But it doesn't seem like the increase in the interest rate and the economic policies, measures, and interventions that they're putting in place to combat this inflation is having a positive effect on the economy. Okay. Now, this could be solely due to the sanctions that they placed on Russia backfiring them because England gets a lot of its oil and a lot of its natural resources, just like majority of the Western European countries do, from Russia. When they put bans on Russia's goods, Russia's oil, and Russia's natural gas, this in turn had a negative effect on their economy because now businesses in their economy can't deal with Russia because of the government sanctions. So they have to look elsewhere for fuel, gas, and natural resources for their businesses. Okay. Which in turn caused fuel prices to go high and consumer goods to go high, much, much, much higher than when it hit us here in America. Okay. Then also coupled with that, Great Britain, the UK's closest trading partner is the entire EU, the rest of the Western European nations, okay? And that there's inflation hanging over every member of the EU's member countries, okay? And they're also being negatively affected by the Russian sanctions as well, okay? So, with all that being said, its own economy is very weak and is also suffering from more weakness due to sanctions they tried to put on Russia to try to punish Russia, but backfired on them. And their closest trading partner is also weak as well. And then the last thing is that the entire European economy has a lot of FUD surrounding it, fear, uncertainty, and doubt due to the conflict that's being fought on the European continent between Russia and Ukraine. Until we get some type of peace talks, till we get some type of ceasefire happening, we are going to be in a situation in which that the major three European currencies, which is the CHF, the British pound, and the euro, are still going to be weak, just due to the entire uncertainty surrounding the entire European continent's economy. Okay. Now, with the USD, as we stated in previous videos, the USD is opening up this trading week as one of our stronger currencies. This is because the increase in interest rate, the economic interventions, measures, and policies that they put in place are seen to have a very positive effect on combating inflation here in America. And they're also seen to be putting policies in place to bring the oil prices down and to bring gas prices down by increasing the circulation of oil around the world. Okay, so we're going to have to see how these things play out. And also, they're also actively discussing taking a more aggressive stance against inflation, the Federal Reserve, and the American government is. And you have to understand, in trading, being discussed can cause the charts to move, even though there's not available action plan to in place for what they're discussing. But we're going to have to see how these discussions turn out to action plans and how these economic policies, procedures, and interventions are going to play out for the long haul in combating the inflation. because if it does not combat the inflation aggressively and expeditiously, then we're going to be in a situation in which the US dollar will lose all of its current strength, right? And will get much weaker than it was previously. But if these interventions, economic policies, and measures, and different things that they're doing does cause the inflation to be fought more aggressively and more rapidly, then we will be in a situation in which we will see the US dollar gain strength very rapidly. Okay. So if what the government and Fed is doing is working, then the US dollar is going to get stronger. If the Fed and the government is doing is not working, then we will see the US dollar gets much, much weaker. Okay. Now, with this said, let's go ahead and break down what is happening on the charts. Okay. So we were going down, going down, going down. This whole downtrend was all catalyzed by when Russians started putting troops on the Ukrainian border. Then here the war was on, and we keep going down. Then we had a pathetic push up, and now it's looking like we're going down towards the fundamental side. And we may get as low as 130555, this general area here, before we start to get rangy and hesitant again. Okay, because the fundamental side is on the side of the British pound being weak and the USD being strong. So we will get a drop in price at this general area here before we start to see any type of pickup, or before we will see a range in this area here. Okay. Now, if the USD continues to gain strength, then we will see a drop below this market structure here. Okay, so what's going to definitely happen for the at least the opening of this New York session, going into the Asian and London session late through the night to the next early morning, we are going to continue to see a drop in price to around this area here till we start to get some hesitation, and then it continues to go up. Okay. So once again, we're going to continue to have a drop in price, in which we're going to get to this general area here before we start to hesitate and continue to go back up. Now, the only way price will continue to go back up is if the fundamentals shift over. But unless we get a ceasefire in Ukraine and we get economic policies and measures in place that's going to prop up the UK's economy and the entire economy of the EU, that takes time but for the immediate time, we're going to continue to have a drop in price. Okay. I hope that information was helpful for you guys. Happy trading.